It's December 2nd, 2018. It's Alexandra Morton here with a message for the provincial government of British Columbia, all parties. A year and a half ago, Chief Ernest Alfred stepped onto the salmon farm at Swanson Island, and for the next 280 days, First Nations and allies occupied salmon farm facilities in the Broughton Archipelago. You came to the big house, you met with them and heard their concerns, you started government-to-government talks. You said that when the salmon farm tenures expired on June 20th of this year, 2018, that you would tell us whether you were going to renew them or not. On that date, you said it would take 60 more days. And then you said it would take 90 days. And 90 days were up last week. And all we've heard is silence. I think it's fair to say you're facing something very, very tough. And it's good to see the landscape that this is happening in. The Federal Minister of Fisheries, who is now Jonathan Wilkinson from North Vancouver, is fighting to protect the right for marine harvest in Cermak to put piscine reovirus-infected Atlantic salmon into the Broughton Archipelago, into all waters of British Columbia, even though this is against the law in Canada, Section 56 of the Fisheries General Regulations. I took the minister to court on this. I won. He's ignoring a federal court ruling. He's ignoring the law. Senior scientists in DFO says this is a highly contagious virus. When it gets into Chinook salmon, it causes their red blood cells to explode. Southern resident killer whales are going extinct for lack of Chinook salmon from the Fraser and Columbia rivers, and Jonathan Wilkinson is in charge of making sure that they don't go extinct. Salmon farming has always existed in a gray area in this country. Because in Canada, you're not allowed to privatize ocean spaces and you're not allowed to own fish in the ocean. As evidence that there's some kind of problem here legally, just look at all the commercial salmon vessels on the coast of British Columbia. They are all displaying numbers, a license that allows them to carry fish, except salmon farm packers. They have no numbers. They're taking fish out of the ocean. They're transporting them. They are a fisheries, according to the BC Supreme Court, and they do not have to have a license for some reason. There is no solid ground here. The only reason salmon farming exists in British Columbia is that politicians for decades have been making it so, even in violation of the laws of this land. Now, interestingly, last week in Norway, up in the Arctic Circle, a city of 75,000 people, Tromsø, decided not to renew salmon farm tenures to protect 1,000 years of commercial fishing off their coast. And two fish farm lawyers popped up immediately and said they think that what Tromsø is trying to do is illegal because of the political expectations of the industry. Oh, political expectations. Is that the problem here? Is that why you've been unable to meet all your deadlines? Because as far as I am concerned, you, the province of British Columbia, have taken all the right steps, except the last one. You seem unable to take the last one, which is to simply leave the Broughton tenures that have already expired. Leave them expired. What is Marine Harvest doing about all this? They're spending $50 million to change their name because they say millennials are savvy consumers and they look things up on the internet. Yeah, if you look up Marine Harvest on the internet right now, the situation here is what comes to the surface. So please, we know it is time, past time, to do everything we can to protect life in our oceans. We know salmon farms kill off wild fish. In 2003, the Provincial Pink Salmon Action Plan followed the salmon farms on the migration route of the pink salmon of the Broughton Archipelago. And that cohort of pink salmon survived beyond everybody's expectation. DFO's own Dr. Dick Beamish wrote a paper on their exceptional survival. Last spring, the juvenile salmon migrating out of the Broughton Archipelago were practically invisible. I've been doing 19 years of research where we set beach seines in the same bays, the same weeks of the year. And where there were millions, we could not even find 100. The salmon in the Fraser River are increasingly being listed as endangered and threatened through COSEWIC. Whatever DFO is doing, it is not working. If this industry is threatening to sue you, let's go to court. We got your back on this. Let's go to court and not destroy another piece of our oceans. We can't afford it. Our children, most importantly, our children cannot afford it. So, Government of British Columbia, please leave the salmon farm tenures of the Broughton Archipelago expired. Don't punt it down the line and say you're going to cancel these tenures in 4 years or 5 years, because then, you just make it sound like you're trying to get reelected. I've been around the block on this one for 30 years. Every time there's a crisis like this, we hear there's going to be a study monitoring. Yeah. We are monitoring extinction. We have to resist it. Thank you.